In the previous video, we completed phase 6, synthesis analysis, synthesis report, compile extractions. All of our analytical documents are now in place. But these documents are not a manuscript. They are building materials, the raw inputs we'll use to construct the manuscript. If we try to write the manuscript ourselves from all these files, we'd need to open each one individually, cross-reference manually, ensure numbers are consistent between the methods and results sections, make sure the discussion doesn't contradict the findings, and confirm the abstract accurately summarizes everything. That's a lot of back and forth, and the risk of inconsistency between sections would be very high. In phase 7, we take all of our upstream outputs from phase 1 through phase 6 and convert them into publication-ready journal manuscript. There are 6 steps in total. Each step runs in a separate chat to maintain quality. Phase 7 requires 5 inputs. The full protocol we generated in phase 1, the search tracker sheet we've been updating throughout the process, the synthesis analysis and synthesis report from phase 6, and if our study proceeded to meta-analysis, that document file gets included as well. All of these are already in our project folder. We don't need to create anything new. These are all output files from previous phases that we've saved step by step. The first tool we'll use is the Manuscript Data Compiler. It organizes and deduplicates all review data for manuscript writing. All Phase 7 tools run on a single platform, 𝗟𝗲𝗿.online. Before we write anything, let's open the Manuscript Data Compiler. We need to provide those 4 or 5 files. The tool will organize all the data, tag it by manuscript section, deduplicate, and flag any inconsistencies. The output is a single file, the manuscript data file. This file will be used in every subsequent step. Each section writer will refer to it as the single source of truth. Why compile first? Because if every step has to read 4 or 5 separate files, the risk of data contradiction between sections increases. One compiled file means all section writers read from the same source. Open 𝗟𝗲𝗿.online. This is the platform for manuscript writing. Look at the sidebar navigation on the left. There are 7 steps in total. Getting started, then Step 0, compile data, Step 1, methods, Step 2, results, Step 3, discussion, Step 4, introduction and abstract, Step 5, tables and figures, and Step 6, assemble document. This sequence is intentional. Methods is written first because it's the most straightforward, and its output is needed by the steps that follow. Introduction and abstract are written last because they need to reflect the content of all other sections. Each step generates a single prompt that you paste into any AI chatbot. It's not locked to any one platform. There are 4 things we need before we begin. The manuscript data file, which we'll generate in Step 0, compiled extractions from Phase 6 needed for the results section, a Word template for final assembly in Step 6, and our review files for Step 0. We already have most of these. Compiled extractions ready, review files ready, the template gets downloaded during Step 6. The only thing we don't have yet is the manuscript data file. That's what we'll create now. There are 6 important tips before we start. Each step should be done in a new chat. The AI loses context in long conversations. A fresh session means better focus. Next, web search must be enabled. Steps 1, 3, and 4 require web search to find real academic references. Make sure that setting is turned on. Review your citations. AI-generated references are usually accurate, but you still need to verify author names, years, and DOIs before submission, especially for niche or recent sources. Don't skip the assembly step. It catches formatting inconsistencies and missing Prisma items that are hard to spot manually. Save every output file. Each step produces a file that the subsequent steps depend on. And finally, cross-check your tables against the results draft. The data must match exactly. Step 0. Compile your manuscript data. Before writing anything, we gather all the important data from our documents into one organized file. Think of it as building a cheat sheet that the AI will use to write every section. For this step, we'll use a thinking model. It's straightforward, 4 steps. Open a new chat. Upload the 5 required files: full protocol, search tracker, synthesis analysis, synthesis report, and the meta-analysis report if you have one. Paste the prompt and download the output. The output is a single file, all review data organized, tagged by manuscript section, and deduplicated. This file will be used in every step that follows. Open our search tracker in Google Sheets. We need to download it as an Excel file so we can upload it to the AI chatbot. Go to File, click Download, and select Microsoft Excel. This is our search tracker. You can see the dashboard. All of our searching, screening, and deduplication data is in here. Registration ID, screening metrics, reliability scores. The AI will extract all of these numbers for the manuscript later. Now open a split view with a project folder on the left. There are 4 files we need for step 0. The full protocol from phase 1, synthesis analysis and synthesis report from phase 6, and the search tracker we just downloaded. We didn't run a meta-analysis for this review, so that file isn't needed. Open a new chat with a thinking model. Drag all 4 files into the chat. Extract data verbatim. Don't round, don't recalculate. Preserve all markdown formatting. Don't add interpretive commentary. This is data compilation, not analysis. If the data isn't found in the source files, it gets marked as not found. These rules are strict for a reason. The manuscript data file becomes the foundation for every subsequent section. If the data here is wrong, every subsequent section will inherit that error. Then, one file, manuscript data, built from all the source files we uploaded. Download it. Save it in the project folder. Look at the progression. S1, planning. S3, deduplication. S4, screening. S5, extraction and quality assessment. S6, synthesis. And now S7, writing. The manuscript data file will be used in every step from here on. Don't lose this file. Now we move to step 1, the methods writer. The methods section gets written first because this is the most straightforward section. We describe what we did: search strategy, eligibility criteria, screening process, quality assessment, synthesis approach, all factual. And its output is needed by the steps that follow. The AI will produce the methods section in past tense with real APA citations for every tool and guideline we used. Prisma, quality assessment tools, synthesis frameworks, everything will be cited. Only one file needs to be uploaded, the manuscript data file we just generated. And this is important. The AI will search the web to find methodological references. Make sure web search is enabled. Open a new chat with a thinking model. Don't continue from the step 0 chat. Start fresh. Upload the manuscript data file. Paste the prompt. Before you send, confirm that web search is enabled. You should see the web search option in the menu. Click to enable it. Why web search? Because the method section needs to cite real, published guidelines, Prisma 2020, SWIM guidelines, quality assessment tools. The AI needs web access to verify and retrieve accurate citations.
Done. Download. Save it as 7.3.
Let's look at the methods draft. See the structure. Eligibility criteria, information sources and search strategy. The search string we used included verbatim in a code block. Study selection process with the 𝗪𝗪 reference and inter-rater agreement. Data extraction. Risk of bias assessment. Every number comes from the manuscript data file. Total records identified, duplicates removed, records screened, Cohen's kappa value. None of this is fabricated by the AI. You can trace it all back to the search tracker we built from the start. Every tool and guideline is cited. 𝗪𝗪 2020, the Prospero registration number, the SWIM guideline, the full reference list is at the bottom. One caveat though, review your references. Make sure all citations match what you actually used. The AI is usually accurate, but verify before submission.
Step 2. The results writer. This is the longest and most evidence-dense section of the manuscript. This time, the AI needs 2 files, not 1. Why? The manuscript data contains synthesis conclusions, vote counts, themes, grade ratings. The compiled extractions contain the evidence trail, specific numbers, measures, and findings from each individual study. The results section needs both: study-level detail to show the evidence, synthesis data to frame it. 2 files: manuscript data for synthesis summaries and quality ratings, compiled extractions for study-level detail.
Open a new AI chatbot session with a thinking model. Drag both files in, compiled extractions and manuscript data. Paste the prompt. The AI will generate tables and figures as well. Characteristics table, risk of bias summary, grade evidence profile, 𝗪𝗪 flow diagram, and harvest plot, all embedded within the results draft. Done. Download. The results draft, the longest of all the sections. Study selection with numbers that match our search tracker, study characteristics, risk of bias, and results of syntheses organized by outcome domain. Look at the narrative synthesis, study by study detail, specific numbers, p-values, effect directions. All of this data comes from the compiled extractions we built during Phase 6. The AI didn't generate it from nothing. Vote counting, thematic grouping, quality weighting, all integrated into one cohesive narrative. Step 3. The discussion writer. This time, 3 files: manuscript data, the methods draft, and the results draft. Why 3? Because the discussion must be consistent with what we actually wrote in methods and results. If the results describe a finding as inconclusive, the discussion can't call it promising. Uploading all 3 files prevents cross-section contradictions like that. The AI will also run multiple web searches to find comparison literature, published reviews in the same field to compare and contrast with our findings. New AI chatbot session, thinking model, enable web search first. 3 files: manuscript data, methods draft, results draft. Drag them all in. Paste the prompt.
Done. Look at the source badges at the bottom. Science Direct, BMJ, MDPI, Frontiers. The AI searched for and cited real published literature for comparison. This is what makes the discussion section credible. It doesn't just discuss our findings in a vacuum. The AI compares them with what other published literature has found. Download. 𝗪_7.5 Discussion draft saved.
Step 4. Introduction and abstract, written last. Why last? Because the introduction needs to build the case for why our review was needed, and the abstract needs to summarize the entire manuscript. Both are impossible to write properly if methods, results, and discussion aren't finished yet. This step requires 4 files: manuscript data plus all 3 drafts we've already generated, methods, results, and discussion. The introduction will be 800 to 1,200 words with 20 to 30 real citations. Dense. This is intentional. Top-tier journals expect thorough engagement with the literature, not just a few paragraphs. The abstract follows the 𝗪𝗼 2020 for Abstracts checklist, 12 items, under 350 words. The AI will do heavy web searching for the introduction citations. Expect multiple searches. 4 files: manuscript data, methods draft, results draft, and discussion draft. Each step builds on the steps before it. Open a new AI chatbot session with a thinking model. Web search enabled. Drag all 4 files in. The prompt specifies 2 output files: an introduction draft with references and an abstract draft with a proposed title. The abstract doesn't have its own reference list. It shares references with the full manuscript. 2 files ready: the introduction draft and the abstract draft. Download both. 𝗪_7.6 Introduction, 𝗪_7.7 Abstract. Look at the project folder now, from S1 Planning all the way through to 𝗪_7.7 Abstract. Every file has a trail. Every phase is represented. Let's look at the introduction draft, dense with citations. See the structure, an opening that establishes the significance of the problem, the literature landscape, what current syntheses emphasize, gap identification, and objectives that lead directly into our review. The reference list is at the bottom, full APA 7th edition format with DOIs. Every in-text citation has a corresponding entry in the reference list. You must verify these. Read each citation. Check that author names and years match, especially for recent publications where the AI may approximate. Now the abstract draft, 𝗪𝗼 2020 compliant. The proposed title is at the top. Below it, a structured abstract with all required sections: background, methods, results, conclusions, and registration. Look at the registration line. The Prospero ID that we registered back in Phase 1, it appears right here. Everything is connected from the initial registration all the way to the final abstract. The abstract is compact, but it covers all 12 𝗪𝗼 abstract checklist items. And notice the author note at the bottom, a reminder to add a funding statement. The AI flags items that aren't in the source files so we can complete them manually. 5 steps are now complete. Step 0. Compile all review data into a single manuscript data file. Step 1. The method section with real methodological citations. Step 2. The results section with study-by-study narrative and tables. Step 3. The discussion section with comparison literature drawn from web search. Step 4. The introduction and abstract reflecting the entire manuscript. Each step builds on the one before it. Methods informs results, results informs discussion, and all 3 inform the introduction and abstract. A chain of consistency. In Part 2, we'll generate tables and figures, download the manuscript template, and assemble all sections into one complete Word document
ready for journal submission.